Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. It's a special meeting to address determining and approving additional compensation to the poll workers for the extended general election poll hours. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And a moment of silence afterwards. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, Ms. Pissarro. Here. Mr. Mangan.
Here.
Mr. Schramm.
Here.
Ms. Cerniak. Here. And Ms. Williams here. Everyone's here, all present. Is there a motion to adopt the special meeting agenda? So moved.
I would like to make an adjustment to the special meeting agenda. On the public comment on agenda items, when you read the first sentence, it comes in there, it says certification only. I would like that changed to additional compensation of poll workers.
Okay, yeah,
That's the subject of the agenda.
yeah, a typo on my part. Sorry about that. When I redid the agenda, and Dan, thanks for catching that. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Pissarro. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any in opposition? Abstentions? Motion passes. We'll adjust the notation under public comment on agenda items from certification to additional compensation for poll workers. Okay, so adoption of the amended special meeting agenda. Is there a motion?
I make a motion.
Mr. Schramm, and is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Mangan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposition, abstentions? None heard. Agenda is adopted. Okay, so we'll move to public comment on agenda items. Again, this is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board on matters listed on the agenda for this first public comment time, which is the additional compensation for poll workers for the extended hours. It's limited to 3 minutes and one comment time per person. We'll start with anyone who's in person. Then anyone who's on the Zoom platform to raise your hand, click the raise hand button at the bottom on the bottom bar, and then we'll move to telephone callers if anyone would like to provide public comment. So we'll begin with anyone in person. Go right to the podium and just state your name and your municipality, please.
Joe Decker, Judge Elections, City Workforce.
Go right ahead. Thank you.
Well, what went on this past election has totally got everybody messed up. We're gonna lose half our poll workers out of the Pittston district because of what happened with this last election. All the other judges said they're quitting. I'm the only judge that didn't say I was quitting. Every other judge that's in their ward 3, 4, and 5, they're all quitting. The judges are quitting. Poll workers are all quitting. So I don't know what we're gonna do on the next election. I don't see how we're an area that never ran out of paper, and we shared our paper down there, so we didn't run out. But the other thing is when we call down there, or other people, like I'm the judge down there, I'm a judge, I'm an elected official. Other people are getting calls about what's going on, but I'm not getting calls. They have my number, they do everything. When the pandemic went on and they needed a judge to take over for somebody so they can run the election, I stepped up and did my duties. But when it comes to situations, what's going on in the area during the election, nobody's calling. You can't get through to nobody on these phones. It takes hours for them. We didn't get the court order down in Pittston until I think it was like 9:30 at night. We should have had that earlier in the day when the judge made the determination. Yeah, everybody was going around, but we should have had that earlier because nobody was going to stay. So I mean, I don't know what people are doing. This can never happen again. To me, it seems like something went wrong, so this election could be handed over to somebody, the way it seems. Because if the election went, I believe in my heart, truly, if this election went to the normal time frame, our election turnout would have been, the whole election would have been totally different. But that's all I gotta say. But I mean, like I said, I'm the judge. Nobody's gonna call me whilst I'm down there doing my job, my duty. I'm gonna walk away from it. So the next time there's an election and so nobody's calling me and letting me know what's going on, then what's the sense of me even being there? Then you guys can find somebody else to try and step in there. It's gonna be awful hard. All right.
Thank you. Okay, I don't see anyone else in, for public comment here. I don't see any hands raised on the platform. And there's one phone call line, so we could open that up if that person would like to speak on the agenda item of additional pay for poll workers. And to unmute, it's *6. I don't think they are interested in speaking. I don't see them unmuting, so we'll move on to the agenda item, which is the additional compensation of poll workers for extended general election hours. I'd like to open it up now for discussion by the board members and maybe some input from the Bureau leadership as well. I know that they had a suggestion. They'd like to discuss that as well. So I'll open that up now for discussion. I do, but well, before I do that, I should read, Attorney Raddick had given us the position on, a question had come up on, there's a limit in the election code on how much poll workers can be given. But and that was questioned, can we go over that limit? And so she did share that in all counties, regardless of class, judges of elections, inspectors of election, clerks and machine operators shall be paid compensation as fixed by the County Board of Elections for each election, which amount shall be at least $75 and not more than $200 by the election code. Luzerne County is at the ceiling of the statute. The extra time required of the poll workers by the court order is outside of what the election code contemplates. Compensation beyond that time could be justified as a special payment for the poll workers for the court-ordered 2 hours. The board, in consultation with the Bureau, should come up with an acceptable amount was her recommendation, and to place it on the agenda to vote on at our meeting here. So that's why we're here. So I wanted to share that, and then we could discuss that amongst the board members.
So Beth, how much are they currently getting paid, judge and?
Judges are $230 and everyone else is $195. Then $20 for training and mileage when happens.
So if the judges get $230 as a base pay, that's not the additional pay for training or anything else. That's their base pay. And all other poll workers get $195 as their base pay. So, if you figure a 14-hour day, because they're there early and they're there late, that's like a half an hour before and half an hour after. Some might be there a little bit earlier. But I did the math on that, and it comes to $13.90 an hour and $16.40 an hour. Your recommendation or one of your suggestions from Ms. McBride and Ms. Pecora was to consider around $25 an hour? Was that what you were contemplating, $25 an hour?
That was one of the numbers that was
Tossed around,
Yeah.
okay. So that, that's a start to the conversation here. I just wanted to give some of that information.
Jim, can you share your breakdown of how you got your number?
Well, I had just looked at it from taking the dollar amount, dividing it by 10, which, 10 is not really the number, given that they are there early and they are there later. But if mine would have come out to $30, around $29.70 per hour at time and a half, basically using a basic time and a half scale for over, which I thought was a reasonable place to start for discussion purposes anyway.
Well, I and I kind of jumped the gun before, but when, you know, I am a fiscal conservative, but it feels, you know, to me that, with what we put the poll workers through this time around, we should be not only lenient, but, you know, give that little bit of extra if, you know, necessary. I don't know how anybody else is really thinking about it, but I think it's just worth keeping our poll workers happy at this point.
Does the Bureau have a list of those who didn't stay?
So I've only received reports of one poll worker who had left. And then obviously the one ward in Hazelton, we're working on confirming if they indeed did close at 8. But I'll report to the board as soon as I have confirmation of that.
But otherwise, everyone stayed.
Yeah, otherwise we have no reports otherwise.
That's something for another time.
Mr. Schramm or Ms. Cerniak, either of you would like to
I
comment?
would much rather go with a higher end compensation rather than a lower end. Just for the fact that it was an extremely long day, you know, and it should show some appreciation at a higher end rather than looking to see at a lower end. So I would be more apt going like for $30 rather than opposed like 25.
I'm kind of in agreement with Mr. Schramm, as long as the money is there and to make the payment,
The money's from
the,
the extra money you,
It would be coming from the election integrity grant.
No, I mean, with that, I mean, I'd like to just make a motion. I'll make a motion for the election day poll workers and judges to be paid an additional $30 per hour for the last 2 hours.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Mangan. Roll call vote. Ms. Cerniak,
yes,
Ms. Fisaro,
Yes.
Mr. Mangan,
Yes.
Mr. Schramm,
Yes.
Ms. Williams, yes, the motion passes unanimously to approve an additional to the poll workers and judges, an additional $30 an hour for the 2 hours extended time on election day. Okay, with that, we'll move into our last public comment. It could be agenda or non-agenda items. This is an opportunity again for the public to, members of the public to address the board on matters not listed on the agenda or on the agenda, but which must be within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. And we'll use the same process, 3 minutes per person, 1 comment time per person. And we'll start, if anyone's on the Zoom platform, you just click the raise hand bar at the bottom. There's a tab. And we'll start with in person. Is there anybody in person who'd like to speak? Go right ahead, sir.
One question. I'm calling for Dave because everybody's calling me. All my coworkers call me. When is this gonna be paid? When will this be paid? When can I tell them they can expect
Yeah.
to receive their money?
Do you have an idea of how long it'll take to turn this around to get the receipts?
The problem is, nobody waits to run the election. But it seems like every election time that comes around, we're waiting a month, 2 months for payment. And these people, you know, the holidays are here, everybody's struggling the way it is now. And they're just wondering, they're calling me, like everybody's like, yo, where am I at? I did my job, where's my payment?
Okay.
And I can't pay them, I'm only the judge.
Does it take Ms. McBride, 2 weeks, 3? Like, how long will it take to process these checks?
I have to work with the administrative team to see. My goal is by the end of this week to get them processed because each poll worker also needs their own vendor number in our system and we just need to make sure that everyone's set up appropriately. So my goal is by the end of this week.
Okay,
By the end of the week, I could tell them.
her goal is by the end
Okay,
of the week,
all right.
get it processed.
Could you also mention if by chance any of them did not provide a W-9, if they could get that to us, because we can't set them up as vendors.
Okay,
Unless we
well,
have
as
that
far as I know,
appropriate.
most people said they did set them up,
Okay.
or like some of the other judges that were there that day said they weren't filling them out. They had already said they weren't filling them out. My people did file them as far as I know.
Okay.
They didn't, I don't know. I know I filed mine. My wife's also a worker. She filed hers. So, but I will check with all my people and see,
Yeah.
verify they filled it out. If not, they'll come down and fill one out. All right.
Thank you. Thank you for being a poll worker. Okay, anybody else in person would like to speak?
Jamie Walsh from Rouse Township. I'm here to serve the election board with the notice of trespass against the people of Luzerne County and the people of the United States of America for not following our rights given to us as citizens for a fair and free election. That's all I have to say.
You can hand it to our solicitor there. Here you go. Thank you.
There's 80 notices there. I have another 1,600 coming to you, but I wanted to get this to you in advance. And I have a copy in this box for each and every board member.
Thank you. Anybody else in person would like to speak? If not, we'll move to the online platform. I don't see any hands up. And so if we'll open up the phone line to see if they would like to speak. Anybody on the phone line would like to speak? Just unmute yourself. Maybe I think I need to have Peter pull them in to anyone who's on the phone. There's one phone line. If you could bring them into to unmute, it's *6. Nope, doesn't appear that they're unmuting, so we'll move on. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting? Ms. Vasaro, is there a second?
I second it.
Mr. Schramm, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposition, abstention.